The whole purpose of the sanctuary is to dedicate it to God. We all have our different ways of dedicating to God. Now, when it comes to our sacrifice, we just have to ensure it's something that's holy and set apart. What it is, what it ain't, it's a boy Carlton with another video for anything, everything, where I talk about anything I want and everything that comes to my mind. And today's video, I wanted to double down on the last video that I made concerning Mike Todd and Transformation Church. If you guys didn't watch it, make sure you check it out. Okay, so with this video, I'm really more responding to the two comments that was left on the previous video. I was going to respond to them, but it's so much that I wanted to say that I wouldn't have been able to say. So I'm like, I might as well just make a video. So for those of you who don't know, Mike Todd had basically like a concert type of thing at his church. He had Alex Jean come out to perform. They was rapping. They had red jumpsuits on, I think. It was a lot of lights going on. They brought a Cybertruck out onto the stage and they rolled it on. And there's a lot of people criticizing Mike Todd, essentially saying like, you know, he's defiling the sanctuary. This isn't a real church. This isn't how church is supposed to be conducted, etc., etc. And I disagreed. And again, you got to watch the video to get into it more, because there was a lot that I said in that video. So the first comment says, it would have been different if he didn't use the church for his concert. The sanctuary should be kept as a sanctified place for God to do his work in us and to edify him. When you use secular song references and secular songs at the altar, that's where I had an issue with the concert. The message get lost in the in sauce of entertainment. Okay. Now, from all the videos that I've watched, I didn't see anything secular. No secular music, no secular references. So I'm not too sure, you know, what she's exactly talking about. But here's one thing that I need you to take into consideration. The word sanctuary in the context of the Bible just means a holy place, church and or temple. Temple meaning a physical place. Now, when it comes to as Christians, there isn't a specific, I don't want to say conduct, but there isn't a specific guideline to how you're supposed to act in a sanctuary, right? And this is what I mean. For example, Catholics, they don't sing like, you know, a Maverick City type of worship, right? Now, what if we sing as, whether you are a Protestant, evangelical denomination, or whatever the case may be, what if you sing Jireh, you are enough, and they say that's not good in the sanctuary. That's too loud. You see what I'm getting at? So I'm not going to sit here and say that you should bring any type of sin. Yes, I agree that we should be separated. We should be set apart. But to say someone can't rap in the sanctuary is wrong, because the whole purpose of the sanctuary is to dedicate it to God. The whole purpose of the sanctuary is to dedicate it to God. We all have our different ways of dedicating to God. Now, when it comes to our sacrifice, we just have to ensure it's something that's holy and set apart. Now, this whole notion of the world, guess what? We're all a part of the world. There is this shirt right here. Imagine me wearing this shirt. They say, oh, I'm trying to look like the world because other people in the world wear this. We're all part of the world. The whole point of us while being in the world is to be set apart from the world, which is going to be their ways. Now, imagine if I'm doing a song and I make a certain reference, and, you know, a certain reference that's a secular. Don't get me wrong. I have different opinions when it comes to how Christians should, you know, essentially conduct themselves when it comes to making music. But at the end of the day, nothing belongs to the enemy. Everything that the enemy does, he perverts it. It's as simple as that. Now, I would say what's most important is like that when it comes to music is obviously going to be your heart. But I don't want to stay on that. Let's continue. The second comment is pretty long. It says, if Jesus became angry with people buying and selling in the temple, how do you think he would respond to the church conforming to the world? They're not conforming to the world. You're making assertions. That's number one. You're making assertions as if they're doing something that's unholy, as if they brought satanic rituals and put it to the altar or something. They're not doing anything wrong. And the second thing is Jesus became angry with the people buying and selling in the temple, because the temple is where the presence of God is supposed to rest. Now, guess what? That physical temple is no longer there, because the new temple is our bodies, because now God dwells within our bodies. So that first sentence is already wrong. Next, did he not say that his house shall be called a house of prayer? This is the new house. This is the house that becomes a house of prayer. Next, let's listed a few verses. It says, did Paul not ask, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness? What did they do that was unrighteous? What did they do that you can say this is a sin? I'm waiting. I'm gonna clip this, and I want anyone to answer. What did Transformation Church do that you can say was unrighteous? I really need to know. And tell me what mingling were they doing when it came to darkness. This is what I want you guys to understand. I'm not a Mike Todd, fanboy. I'm not a, Transformation Church defender. Listen, I have a lot of critiques that he does. But one thing that I will not allow anyone to do is to slander the things that he does for the kingdom. He may say something that I don't agree biblically. He may say something that may be a little off when it comes to doctrine. But at the end of the day, we judge them by their fruits. I'm not saying that we can't give them righteous judgment. If they're saying something that's wrong, by all means, the body of Christ should call it out, especially when it comes to protecting the ears of baby Christians. But if you're going to judge them by their fruits, the man does a lot for people. Their church does a lot for people. And I remember one season, they're giving out houses, they're giving out cars. They're doing a lot for the people, especially for the people outside of the church as well. But let me continue reading. It says, then she listed another verse. It says, I don't know, that's probably the verse she listed. It says, there ought to be a separation between what is holy and unholy, between what belongs to the world and what belongs to the church. God has called his people to come out and be separate from the world, and to touch not the unclean thing. Our gathering together is for the edification of the saints and for encouraging one another. Your video only reveals that you are still carnal and have some growing up to do. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still. I mean, but I receive it. I do have some growing to do, and I'm gonna have some growing to do until I die. But one thing that I can say is what your comment just revealed is the Pharisee spirit that I was revealing in that video, where the second something goes against your norm, now all of a sudden it becomes unholy. Now all of a sudden it becomes unrighteous because it went against what you usually do or what you perceive to be bad. What matters is what God says. You used a whole bunch of verses, but didn't call out one thing that he did that was unholy, one thing that they did that was unrighteous. Why? Because there was nothing there. The only thing that you deemed that was unholy and you deemed that was unrighteous is the going against of your traditional way of a church service. Whether they was doing a concert, whether that was a praise break, regardless of what it was, it went against what you're used to. Now all of a sudden it becomes unholy. So again, I pose the question. Tell me what they did that was a sin. Tell me what they did that invited the spirit of the world into their church. What song lyric that they used that was unholy, that glorified anything of the world? What dance gestures they did? Was they twerking? Was someone on stage half naked? Or like, tell me what happened. Does red belong to the devil? Can people in church not wear red now? Or were they jumping too high? That's probably what it was. They was jumping too high. And, when it comes to the church, there's certain level you can get from the ground. And if you go above that level, now all of a sudden you're trying to be like the world. I really want to know, what did they do that was unholy, that was unrighteous? No matter what you do as a church, you're going to give off, okay, this is what the world do as well. You know why? Because the world already does everything that the church do. They just pervert it. Do not the world have their own music festivals? Do Christians have music festivals? Do not the world have their own gatherings? Do Christians not have gatherings? So now everything that we do, we gotta, okay, let me make sure that we don't look too much like the world. No, it makes no sense. And listen, and this is exactly why there's a lot of Christians that don't know how to be free in the grace that we've received. You guys are still operating by the law. You guys are bounded, which is why the joy of the Lord has not come in its fullness in you. You don't know how to have fun within the boundaries of God. You probably go to a party and you think going to a party is a sin too. Listen, nonetheless, honestly, I'm a person, there's no benefit to being right. I don't care to be right. But as far as me changing my mind, unless something is presented to me, because I'm not just gonna look at a few verses and say, oh yeah, she right, and not apply it to the context of everything that's going on. That's not what's going to happen. I'm going to continue to hold on to my view unless someone shows me something that they did that I can say that's a sin, that's unholy, that's unrighteous. So let me know. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next time on Anything Everything. Peace.